We are live. Okay, there we go. We are ready to roll. Yep. And it's not raining out. I just mean for later. Folks, 102. We are coming up momentarily. I believe it's a solid connection. Let me double check the we're ready to roll. Yep. There it is, nice and clean.
We are ready to roll.
We are. That sounds There's Ryan. Folks, let's go.
Connection. Let me double check the
Yep. A lot of developments. We're going to start off with our legal segment.
We are. That sounds. There's Ryan.
All right, let me check. That is audio on Facebook, JR. It should be fine for you. Let me check. That's a good way to describe it. All right, let me check the sound on X in YouTube, which I believe should all be fine. Let me just double check. I think we're good to go.
Let me check the sound on X.
Sounds clean.
I believe should all be fine.
Yep. All right, and we are, let's see. Folks, the next couple of days is just so wild. All right. Bendy says YouTube is spectacular. Oh, my goodness. Yep. And we're going to address all of it. Let me just double check here. Okay. One minute out. Yep. Folks, 1 minute out. There's Michael Blade. Hi there, Michael.
Yep. Folks, 1 minute out.
I know. I'm still looking a little. I'm looking at myself. I'm a little tired.
Yep.
But feeling better, folks. We were out last night. We'll be out later.
Looking
at myself. A little pale as well.
But feeling better, folks. We were out last night.
I have that February pale. All right, enough of that. All right, we're going to start momentarily. Enough of that. I want that. We're going to wait for JR to give us the go-ahead. We're going to go ahead. Un momento. There we go. Folks, remember, Marin Barrett Murphy. Oh, and we are live, folks, at 106. This is the real news. It is brought to you by Marin Barrett Murphy. a team of criminal defense attorneys, 50 years combined Rhode Island criminal defense experience. Remember, your fight becomes their fight, and they put the full weight of the firm behind every case. We spoke with Matt Marin last week. We're about to speak with Stephanie Murphy. You can call them at 401 228 8271. Look for them on Facebook, Instagram, and on TikTok. As a matter of fact, folks, it is time for our legal segment. And joining us right now from that firm is, in fact, it is Stephanie Murphy. Good afternoon and welcome back, Stephanie.
Good afternoon, John.
Stephanie, I want to start off, obviously, high-profile case, and we're talking about the situation at Rhode Island College. What I find interesting about this hidden camera found in a public bathroom. I mean, I guess it's a public bathroom, but, someone has been arrested that works at the college. I think it's one of those interesting cases because, number one, a lot of these laws are relatively new. I think a lot of people don't know necessarily the penalties involved. I think that's one factor. Another factor is, and I actually heard this, and listen, people ask questions. Someone sent me an email. Hey, how could, if you, and they were trying to say to me, well, if you film publicly outside on the street, well, what about he's, filming in a public building? I'm going to let you handle that. But number three, you also have a number of students that rightfully so, or just members of the public. There could have been someone visiting the college for whatever reason that feels violated. So it's an unusual story. It actually broke nationwide. News Nation touched on it. But touch on this video camera that they found in the bathroom at Donovan Dining Center, Rhode Island College.
Yeah, absolutely. So the defendant did get charged with video voyeurism. So it's under Rhode Island General Law 1164-2. He did enter a plea of not guilty, and he's released on his own recognizance to appear in court at the next court date. So it is a felony charge. So what they are alleging and what the law requires is that a person's guilty if for the purpose of sexual arousal, gratification, or stimulation, that this person installs or uses or permits the installation of any imaging device to capture, record, transmit intimate areas of another person without that person knowing. And that seems to absolutely fit the bill in this case, that he allegedly went into the bathroom, installed a device that was being transmitted to his phone that would view people in a very private area of the bathroom. So that's kind of what the charge is. So it is a felony charge, and he does face up to 3 years in jail because of it. But I think this might just only be the beginning. If, this is just one count, then he faces up to 3 years. But if there's information or evidence that, more cameras were installed or more victims are, discovered, then he can definitely face multiple counts for this.
Now, also, it's unknown, as far as I know, if this was being transmitted, whether or not, are these posted online somewhere? I mean, I think it's an initial part of the investigation. But Stephanie, what should someone do, whether it's a student at the college, maybe someone was guest lecturing, whatever reason, it's very possible there's a number of people out there that are listening or watching, and they're saying, I think I've used that restroom before.
Yeah, I would definitely reach out to the state police and reach out to the college police and stuff like that. And give them your concerns, give them the dates that you were in the facility, what your concerns are and stuff like that. So hopefully a lot of this stuff hasn't been uncovered yet or made to the public. Since it's a felony charge, the state has about 6 months to kind of gather up their information, their investigation. But the good thing is that it seems like he got charged right away. So he's no longer, hopefully, at the college. There's a no trespass order. There's different things to protect him from doing this again at the college. But you can definitely raise any concerns to the campus police, to the state police. If you think you were a victim in this case, there's a lot of different people that you can reach out to and kind of get reassurances of maybe the dates and everything like that of when this investigation took place.
I'm curious, we hear about sometimes someone goes in, the stores unknowingly, a restroom at a Walmart or Home Depot or what have you. I'm just curious, is there any recourse towards what if I'm a student at the college and I say, hey, you're supposed to protect me from something like that. This is a school employee. Who's to say he
Absolutely.
doesn't, have access to my dorm, whatever. Is there possible recourse for some of there are victims here?
Yeah, I definitely think there's civil recourses too. So not only is he facing, criminal and possible civil charges, but the college could also be implicated if they didn't do, if they were negligent, didn't do their due diligence and stuff like that. So I definitely think there's a civil aspect to this case. Right now, the criminals case is really in the forefront, but there's definitely, damage that could be done to any of these victims. Absolutely.
And I just want to finish on what is different, actually, as I think of it. It's one thing a member of the general public goes into, and I'll just use that. I think it was like a Home Depot or something like that. They plant
Right.
hidden device and so forth. But it would, I would imagine, I don't know, but it would be different if it was actually an employee of a Home Depot or a Walmart that is actually the one doing it. Potentially, the college could maybe be on the hook a little bit more because it is a Rhode Island College employee.
Absolutely. There's an employee that's under their control. There's a duty of care to all the students, to all the people on their property. Absolutely. So I think the civil case could be two parts in terms of a personal civil suit and also a larger suit involving the college or, public safety and everything like that.
Stephanie, before we move on, I'm just curious, is this a topic? Is this legislation became law that I would imagine it has just started evolving over the past, I don't know how many years, but it's not as if it's been around forever that we've had this type of technology. My point is, do you recall when they started being proactive, like, hey, we have to do something, have laws, because people now have the technology availability to do something like this?
Well, I know in 2005, when I first became an attorney, the video voyeurism charges that I would see is typically in a relationship where one couple's filming another couple or another person, and then they're sent out to other people and stuff like that, and they're kind of used as blackmail. So that's kind of how I first saw that charge when I first became an attorney. Now it's evolving because of social media for, how relevant cameras are in our everyday lives and stuff like that. So I have seen this law evolve. The backbone of the law remains the same because it does cover, anything, any sort. It could be your own personal camera, not just, a camera online. So I definitely have seen it evolve to include the social media aspect of it. And, just the fact that every day we're just recorded and filmed everywhere. So there has been evolution, but the backbone of the law has kind of remained the same.
It's definitely a problem. There've been some high-profile examples of it. If you remember the reporter from ESPN, this
Right.
guy was following her city-to-city hotel rooms, and then you have, now there's Airbnbs, there's landlords. I've seen videos on TikTok where they explain how to, look around to see if something like that could, potentially could happen. Folks, again, we're speaking with Stephanie Murphy, Marin, Barrett, and Murphy. Now, Stephanie, there's a lot of different dynamics, to the Karen Reed trial. But the part that I want to ask you, and I don't want to relitigate this controversial case, but just the nature where the defense made a motion where they'd like the whole case tossed out on government misconduct. And the reason I say that is that's not that I'm aware of. That's not a common filing that we see a lot. I can't recall. I'm sure it happens more often than not, but I don't remember the last time we saw something like that in our area. But just your reaction to that filing.
Yeah, so with the defense filing that motion to dismiss, it's really kind of unknown at this point what they're claiming, is the misconduct on behalf of the prosecutors. It was done under seal, so we're not really sure what the misconduct was. But in order for the defense to prevail on a motion like that, they typically have to demonstrate that the prosecutor engaged in improper conduct that would have prejudiced the defendant. So that's kind of the standard that they would have to prove. So I'm not clear of what evidence they have or what they're arguing about right this second, but I know it's set for court next week, I believe. And this conduct by the prosecutor, the court will take a look at whether or not it was intentional or just merely negligent of the prosecution. But I do find it interesting because this comes after, the prosecutors kind of alleging in regards to the expert witness and how much was paid on behalf of the defendant for the expert to testify. So this is all coming on the right after, everything happened with the $24,000 that was allegedly paid to an expert to testify on behalf of the defense. So it kind of seems that both sides are pointing the fingers at the defense is pointing at the prosecution, and the prosecution is pointing to the defense in terms of kind of misconduct that was done by both sides.
Definitely unusual nature. Folks, now it's time for, it's either Murphy's Law or Stephanie's Selection, and that is a story that is in the news that she has found. And what story is it that you have found this week, Attorney Murphy?
So this story, I believe, came out yesterday about a passable bill that might get presented up in Providence for inmates to have conjugal visits. So what this bill is proposing is that inmates would be allowed 6 conjugal visits per year, each lasting for about 4 hours. And why I think this is kind of interesting is because there's only 4 states that allow that. It's Connecticut, California, New York, and I think Washington is a 4th state. So this would be, on the cutting edge of what other states are allowing or not allowing. But I definitely have, I would have serious concerns if I was Department of Corrections in regards to this. Every time I go to the prison, I'm not even allowed to bring paperwork in without it getting scanned, just for, the paper being traced with certain drugs or narcotics. So to have an inmate with somebody for 4 hours, 6 times a year with no cameras, no surveillance, no one being watching them, I just really worry about the security concerns that would bring upon Department of Corrections. God forbid somebody is assaulted during that time. God forbid somebody says no and wants to leave. It just seems like there would be huge security concerns. And also, I don't know if the bill is really for every inmate or if it's for inmates who are, on their way out of the facility, maybe in minimum security. But I think there's a big difference between allowing this in minimum security and allowing it in max or super max. So I think it's a very interesting story. Not many states have this. And it's just interesting to see how far this bill will go and what will happen.
I'm just curious. I remember when the Joey Buttafuoco story happened in New York, and it was a young woman that liked this guy, and she shot his wife, and then was talking about conjugal visits. Is this something the states that permit it? And again, I'm glad you pointed out this would be maximum security. Is this something that that the states, do they find that it results in better behavior by the inmates?
I think that's a purpose and the mythology behind it is that it's something that can get taken away. It's something that is given to the inmates. So in terms of, controlling the inmates' behavior, it's something else similar like good time or similar to like credits and stuff like that the inmates work towards. And it does really help. I see it every day. It does really help inmates in prison to have a reason to behave and everything like that. So it is kind of the carrot in terms of what some inmates would be looking for. So it could definitely help behavior. But I do think there's other ways to, implement good behavior in the inmates and have them follow the rules, such as, good time, allowing them to take classes. Rhode Island has work release. Rhode Island also has a great program where, some inmates can train and have, a dog with them. So I think there's a lot of ways to influence, inmates to be of good behavior. I'm just not sure if this one's really worth the security concerns that I would have.
Just one other thought on that. It's the nature of it. I just have a question. Who's designated as the individual that would be allowed the conjugal visit? And what I mean by that is, if it's 6 times a year, would an inmate be allowed 6 different partners, if you will, to participate in these conjugal visits?
I mean, I would really hope that it would have to be a significant other or something like that, the same person, but I'm really unsure or unclear how the Rhode Island law would be.
There's just so many people that are not married. Plus, you also have, who's to say, it could be a man that prefers the company of another man, a woman, whatever it may be. Folks, again, it is Attorney Stephanie Murphy. Stephanie, excellent job as always, and we'll talk to you again.
Thanks, John. Have a great day.
All right, folks, there it is, our legal segment with Attorney Stephanie Murphy. And I want to give there we go. Remember, you can contact them, 401-228-8271, 401-228-8271, Marin, Barrett, and Murphy. Well, folks, good afternoon on this Thursday. This is The Real News. Now, I want to get into some of the news of the day, and there's a lot of different facets to it. as you know right now, since President Trump has come into office, it has just been a flurry of activity. And in many ways, you're seeing, I haven't seen any elected official in the state of Rhode Island or Massachusetts, for that matter. I haven't seen one official that I think has reacted in the proper fashion. If you heard last hour on the radio, as I also said though to Dan McGowan, I don't think the Rhode Island Republican Party necessarily. I also haven't seen anyone fully capitalize on that. And what I mean by that is I don't find that the elected Republicans that there are, I don't see anyone really channeling the energy that you're seeing coming out of Washington between the president and Elon Musk. I played on the radio show. He replaced Gina Raimondo as Commerce Secretary. His name is Howard Lutnick. He had run Cantor Fitzgerald. He's a brilliant guy. He's a fascinating guy. His story, those of you who have seen it, he did a big interview on Fox with Brett Baer. And the guy, he is so committed to the cause with President Trump. And what I find is not only is the Rhode Island delegation, they're misrepresenting what's going on. And that Congressman Gabe Amo, not only do they refuse to accurately respond to and communicate what's happening, I don't see a lot of local media correcting them on it either. And a good example, if you look at, and I posted this on the Facebook page, but Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, what the Providence Journal was so quick to come out and say, oh no, it's incorrect. It's incorrect, the allegations. And what they're hanging a hat on is there was a headline that said that his wife, Sandra Whitehouse, it's her company. And so what the Providence Journal, they grab onto, and some of the other local media, is, oh, no, she's just a consultant to the company. Well, folks, that's by design. That's part of the scheme. The fact of the matter is that's the whole reason she's just a consultant and not an employee is because they do that purposely to give her plausible deniability where both Senator Whitehouse and the wife can say, oh, no, she's just a consultant. She's just a consultant, a nonprofit consultant for a nonprofit climate agency that, because of Senator Whitehouse, gets whatever it is, $14 million. And she draws a salary of $300,000 a year, basically to work 3 months a year. And the whole focus of it is about littering on the beach. It's absolutely a scheme to me. Like, they think it's designed that way. It's designed where they can say she's actually not an employee, she's a consultant. So when the Providence Journal jumps up to say, oh, that's all they're saying is that she's not an employee, she's a consultant. But what is the difference? The money's going to the same place. It's all set in motion that way. The local media not going into that story, I think it speaks volumes. So I want to touch on that. I'm also going to tell you, Governor Mckee did this interview on NBC 10. Excuse me, folks. I was fine, and then still a little congestion from the chosen one under the weather. But I want to stay on schedule here, because what you're seeing is the full Mckee come into existence. But this portion of the program is brought to you by Propane Plus. Remember, in Rhode Island, heating and cooling Call Propane Plus today, 401-885-4209. In Massachusetts, 508-252-3359 for Propane Plus. The Johnson family, 3 generations. You can depend on them. They're fantastic. It's Propane Plus, residential and commercial. Or you can go to the website, propaneplus.com, type in your zip code, residential or commercial, for all your heating and cooling. Contact Propane Plus, 401-885-4209, or in Massachusetts, 508-252-3359 for Propane Plus. So Governor Mckee went on Channel 10 with Dan Janik, Connect to the Capitol. And he likes it. It's a countdown segment. And what I mean by that is the clock is running, the whole nature of the game. The whole nature of the game is, oh, wow. Okay. Now, all right, we may have right now at 127, we possibly have a situation in Middletown right now at 127. Someone contacted me, something big going on in Middletown, stuck in traffic, West Main Road, make you turn around, police going towards Portsmouth and Newport. They're posting on it on the Middletown residents page. Now they're claiming there was a shots fired in the Home Depot parking lot and they're out looking for people. Now I've not heard about any victims. Stay with me, folks. All right. Now, remember now, in Providence, we deal with shots fired all the time. So does Pawtucket Central Falls. All right. I don't know what that is. No, I am not. No, just shots fired. All right. We'll follow up on this. Obviously, I would not be able to get there in time. I have not heard about any victims. Someone said there's something on the Middletown residents page. Let me, 129, let me check this and see if I can see anyone that has any information on it right now. Let's see. Anything with Newport? No. Well, that's interesting because, okay, what I find interesting is the Rhode Island Democrat Party is calling for a boycott of those places today. So this could be really interesting. Okay. Now, folks, how do you know one in custody? Wow. All right. So at 1:30, this is a developing story. I'm going to see if there's a way I can go in and out. We have some people in that area that are trying to provide some information for me, and I'm trying to follow up on this. And I realize we're live, but that's the whole purpose of being live, is let me just see if anybody else. Folks, let's see. Right now at 1:30, stay with me. I want to just see. Yep, I don't care about that. It's amazing the number of things that people send me that I don't know why. Okay, let's see. Okay, area roped off. I think it's a shots fired. That's interesting. So the Democrat Party is telling people to boycott all businesses today into tomorrow. It was supposed to, they have the wrong dates. It was supposed to be Friday into Saturday. But I believe it's just a shots fired. So I have not heard about any victims. Okay, so no victims. No. All right, now in that Middletown, Newport, they don't deal with a lot of shots fired. Those of you that watch Road Patrol, we deal with it all the time. So it's very, very common, but they have one custody. Okay. Definitely not that. I'm not even going to repeat that because I don't think that's accurate. So let me just see if we have Rhode Island Democrat Party. All right, I see nobody's got it yet. Wow. Isn't that terrible? I'm just checking something else. Folks, I realize we're live. Sometimes, and I say that because there are some people that say, you realize you're live. But yes, well aware. Well aware. All right, I'm going to check in on that in just a moment, but I am not hearing of any victims in that area. As of right now, the information that I have is that it's a shots fired. I'm not trying to downplay it. They're not used to that sort of thing down in the Newport, Middletown area. But right now, it sounds as though there was some kind of a shots fired in a parking lot of Home Depot. And I want to stay on schedule here, folks. This portion of our program, and hear me clearly, as Mckee would say, is brought to you by Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. Now, this has been a rough winter. And those of you who watch Road Patrol know I'm hitting those roads at night, and there's a lot of damaged roads, and there's a lot of damaged parking lots. Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. Call Corey, 401-283-9815. Free quote, free estimate. Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. I share their Facebook page. They seal coat driveways, parking lots, crack filling, pothole repair, line stripping. They can make your payment look like new. They fix potholes, cracks. They'll make sure the lines in your parking lot are bright, directs traffic safely. That can be a big part of avoiding fines from different cities and towns. They can also do sports court resurfacing, pickleball, tennis, basketball. They'll epoxy garages and patios, decorative concrete flooring, Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. Call them right now. Free quote. I also share their Facebook page. What does that mean? It means if you log on to my Facebook page, that's an easy way to find them. 401-283-9815. Call Corey, free estimate. And remember, you need to make sure they will ensure that your parking lots are ADA compliant with cities and towns. Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. 401-283-9815. All right. Let me I am getting some. Oh, wow. Okay. I see. Interesting. All right. So that's really interesting what I'm seeing right now. That is from Newport Buzz claims gunfire erupts in Middletown Home Depot parking lot as police open fire on a fleeing vehicle. Law enforcement involved shooting erupted Home Depot. Multiple shots, officers target a fleeing vehicle. Chaos erupted around 12:30. Heavy police presence, gunfire in the busy lot. One woman taken into custody at the scene. Chase continued down Ridge Road behind Burger King. An ambulance, emergency lights activated, seen leaving the area, followed by a police vehicle. Authorities have yet to release any information. Avoid the area. Okay, so that is Newport Buzz. Let me see if they have any other update. think I know who runs that, right? Yeah. Now he doesn't have anything on his X page, so he just must be doing it on Facebook. So let me just check that. Boy, some excitement down there, that's for sure. Let me just see if they have any other update. Boy, Facebook's slow today, isn't it? Well, I've noticed it's slow. I don't know why it's so slow, but it is. Okay, there it is. Law enforcement involved. Oh, wow, the whole area is marked off. I see it. Thursday afternoon, target a fleeing vehicle. All right, so they have the story. Newport Buzz. Nice job on that. I don't know why, FB, but I am not hearing of any victim, but it's definitely something happened in that Home Depot parking lot. So we'll check back on that in just a moment. Now, folks, I want to get to how do you know that Hasbro is leaving? Couple things are happening. Number one, they apparently had a meeting on February 6th where they've decided they're going to leave Rhode Island and go to Boston. But a couple of other things have come into play. One is that I'm hearing Governor Mckee reached out to the CEO at Hasbro and has asked them to not announce it right away because he is supposedly announcing Monday he's running for re-election. Now, we haven't heard about an event. Could just be a video released. He was on Channel 10 with Dan Janik. For whatever reason, Janik did not really question him a lot about it. I don't know why he didn't, but this is the full Mckee right here, where not only is he leaving or Hasbro leaving,
I think for the first.
but he takes a shot at them. This is Rhode Island Governor Dan Mckee. Boy, if you're Hasbro, this confirms for me they're leaving, but he's put it under wraps and told them don't say anything because I'm announcing for governor on Monday. But would you say this if they were staying? This is Rhode Island Governor Dan Mckee.
Continue to bring in more companies in the state that are actually growing. Remember, Hasbro is a shrinking, employee count. We're going to wish them the best, and we're going to continue to bring in more companies in the state that are actually growing. Remember, Hasbro is a shrinking, employee count.
If they're shrinking, first of all, it's ludicrous. They're $1 billion worldwide brand of Hasbro. Well, if they're shrinking, then why would you be putting out a full court press effort to get them to stay? Why did you say we're going to give you all these various things that they were offering? See, that is where he is so thin-skinned, this guy, meaning Governor McGreed. Oh, well, they're shrinking. So he takes a shot at them on the way out the door. Well, they're shrinking anyway. So this is where Governor Mckee, Hasbro, is an iconic brand. Obviously very valuable. Massachusetts and Boston want to welcome them into the Seaport area. I'm sure they're going to be very excited about it. Here's where Governor Mckee tries to compare Hasbro to a small company in North Kingstown. You know why? He's he's more comfortable with small-time type people. And he also tries to compare them to Breeze Airwaves, which is a small airline startup. Folks, airline startups are traded, merged. The whole reason a lot of times they start them is that they hope that someone will buy them out and then just merge into another airliner. But this is where
companies that are actually growing that are in the state that want to stay here, that want Regent, and Breeze Air, which has doubled up their staff, first hub in the state of Rhode Island's history at the airport during the time I've been governor. So I can hold you there, Governor. We could talk. We're working with other companies that are actually growing that are in the state that want to stay here, that want Regent, and Breeze Air, which has doubled up.
Hold on, that wanna be here.
Growing that are in the state that want to stay here, that want Regent.
That want to stay here. Listen, Hasbro is leaving. He reached out to the CEO of Hasbro, meaning Governor McGreed did, and asked him, listen, we've tried to be blah, blah. I don't know what the hell he said, but basically said, could you at least hold off? Because I'm going to announce my reelection bid. I also, there's something else that you should know about, but I want to make sure. I just want to see if there's any other type of update on this Middletown situation. Now, I would imagine right now that our, Channel 10, Channel 12, they're all probably booking down there to try to figure out and get the latest. This is where Newport Buzz with Christian, they benefit from being in that area. I don't think they have any other new update regarding of what I have already told you. There it is. No, it's all pretty much. I want to just I'll just double check. I don't think they have any other update than what I've told you, that there was something happened in the Home Depot parking lot. It's right on the Newport Middletown line. And it's very possible there was a shots fired. I have not heard about a victim. But then the police were pursuing whoever was involved in this. So it's taken forever to load for whatever reason. So they have some excitement down there. We'll see what's happening. I don't know by the time we could get down there exactly how much longer it'd be going on. They do have a big rope out there. Been out there for a little while. We'll see. All right. I want to just also just touch on the Governor Mckee interview, because he also said something. Okay. Channel 6 is down there. Police tape off crime scene in Middletown. Is that? No. Let me just see. So Channel 6, they booked down there. 12:30, Park Penske rental truck. All right. Well, we'll see. I don't know. Could be heading down there. We shall see at 2:00. Folks, now I want to touch on, though, because several things about Rhode Island Governor Dan Mckee that you need to know. And I don't think the rest of the media are going to tell you. I've already told you. The Senator Whitehouse, he has picked the fight. Rhode Island Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, they're picking fights with very powerful people. Rhode Island Senator Sheldon Whitehouse has decided to pick a fight with Elon Musk. And as someone said to me yesterday, you don't pick a fight with a guy that has $400 billion. And he and Magaziner and Amo, they want to just continue to throw rocks at Elon Musk and the president. And it's not going to be tolerated. They should not be doing that, because it hurts and penalizes you and me and everyone else. Folks, this portion of our program is brought to you by Modern Mechanical. Remember, call them today, Modern Mechanical, whether if you're having a problem with a boiler repair and maintenance, furnace repair and maintenance, heater repair and maintenance. Modern Mechanical. Call Richard and his crew today, 401-441-5442. 401-441-5442. Modern Mechanical. They're right on Jefferson Boulevard. You want to make sure and ensure it's running as efficiently as possible. Modern Mechanical. Boiler repair and maintenance, furnace repair and maintenance, heater repair and maintenance. Modern Mechanical. 401-441-5442. Let me go back to the Governor McGree interview on NBC 10 with Dan Janik, because he asked the whole business, and you need to know this, and any media that you hear, Governor McKee, if he's asked point blank, are you running a sanctuary state? Well, he was just in D.C. So suddenly now he is like, well, we're not going to say if we're a sanctuary state. Listen, the Massachusetts won't say that they're a sanctuary state. They're all intimidated. It's what they were saying prior to that, or what they were saying initially when President Trump got in, or right before he was sworn in. But this is the proper way. And this is so important for you to understand this. That if you ask Rhode Island Governor Dan Mckee today, or he was asked last night, are we a sanctuary state? He'll say, no, we're not a sanctuary state. Folks, that to me, that's akin to, if you would ask a member of organized crime, are you a member of the mafia? Are you a member of La Cosa Nostra? What would they? No, not at all. He's not going to say that. Dan Janik is like, oh, okay, and then just moves on. That's not the question to ask. I know something about this. In 2014, this is the crux of the matter. In 2014, Governor Chafee directed the state's executive agencies, including state police and Department of Corrections, stop honoring federal immigration detainers without a court order. What does that mean? It means in other states, police, law enforcement don't need a court order. If there is a federal immigration detainer, you don't need a court order. Chafee in 2014 switched it to say you need a court order. If you don't have a court order, we release them. So, and what Governor Mckee should be asked is, why won't you reverse the policy that Chafee put in motion in 2014? He could reverse it. Chafee did it as an executive order. Raimondo held the same policy in place. Excuse me. Governor Mckee could do it. So as Rhode Island Governor Dan Mckee is sitting on the radio with his Protect the Governor segment, they can ask him 100 times, are we a sanctuary state? No. Are we a sanctuary state? No. It's always the same answer. The question should be, would you do an executive order, or issue, I should say, an executive order, where you reverse what the missing link, what Chafee did in 2014? That is the question. Now, he would say, well, we'll have to take a look at it, blah, blah. Folks, Chafee changed it. Chafee changed it. Raimondo, Gina, she kept it in place, and Mckee has kept it in place. They're never going to say, there's few states, I should say, that say that will admit to that. But the fact of the matter is, folks, and as I say, as someone that's out, number one, I hear from state police. They're told, do not go after them. Do not cooperate. We already know you have mayors like, you've had Governor Mckee saying, I'm not going to turn our state police into immigration officers. What is that telling you? You have the mayor of Providence. You have the mayor of Pawtucket, Central Falls, all saying, well, we're not going to turn our officers into immigration officers. Folks, that's code. That is code for we're not going to cooperate with ICE. That's what it is. I assure you, the state police are aware of this. ICE is aware of this. That's why ICE, very hesitant, dealing with our local police agencies. Let me be very clear. That should not be that way. That absolutely should not be that way. But that's why they're hesitant to cooperate with them. Because you have mayors like the mayor of Central Falls. You have Mayor Smiley, the mayor of Providence. And you have Rhode Island Governor Dan Mckee, who are very adamant. And the best example is the mayor of Boston, Mayor Michelle Wu, who is in this whole back and forth with Tom Holman. So now I want to play one other thing. Well, several things I could play. I've known Dan Janik a long time. I don't like to bash. I don't like the Monday morning quarterback. But my problem with our local media folks is they don't do a follow-up question. And the whole reason Mckee is there is for no follow-ups, to steamroll over him and then just try to get out of there unscathed. That's the whole purpose of it. But folks, this portion of the program is brought by Kids Club on the Pike. Kids Club on the Pike. Remember, they handle, so whether it is a birthday party venue, available for private rental, entire facility for birthday parties, other events, before and after school care, preschool, half-day program, preschool ages 3 through 5, before and after care, ages 5 through 12. Contact Kids Club on the Pike. They're right on Plainfield Pike, on the Cranston-Johnston line, right off of 295. Kids Club on the Pike. Call them 401-443-5336, 401-443-5336 for Kids Club on the Pike. Well, folks, good afternoon. Again, this is the real news. Let me just check. I don't believe, I don't have any other update from, let's see. I don't have any other update regarding what's going on in the Middletown situation. So don't have necessarily I don't see any update on that. Whatever happened, it sounds like it did happen a while ago. I'm not trying to minimize it. And then we'll make a decision coming up whether or not we're going to venture there. Excuse me. But I do want to get back to keep in mind, Rhode Island Governor Dan Mckee, and this is really important, he is tied to organized labor, and they're tied to him. You know, he is their puppet. He does whatever they say. So Channel 12 with Joe Fleming came out with a story where the direction of the state. And what's not, it's paid for by the AFL-CIO, which is very unusual. And it's also unusual that Joe Fleming would be doing something like that. And then Channel 12 kind of ran it like it was their poll. So Governor Mckee was asked about this, and Pork Boy was touting the poll like it's a good thing. Only 50% of the state feel that the state is going in the wrong direction, which is much different than other polls that have been done, where it's more like, with Biden, 75% of the country felt it was headed in the wrong direction. So I'm telling you, I don't believe this poll that only 50% of the state, feel that the state is headed in the wrong direction. So listen to how Mckee tries to tout this. This tells me the poll was done as part of his re-election effort to try to convince people that things are not that bad, as a matter of fact.
I think for the first time we've seen in polling that less people think we're headed in the wrong direction, less than 50%. So we're continuing working on that Rhode Island 2030 plan. I think for the first time we've seen in polling that less people think we're headed in the wrong direction, less than 50%. So we're continuing working on that Rhode Island 2030 plan. I think for the first time we've seen in polling that less people think we're headed in the wrong direction.
I don't know anyone. What I mean by is I don't communicate with anyone that feels the state is headed in the right direction. I don't believe that poll. So this is part of the Mckee re-election effort. To try to now convince people. You're going to hear that from him. Only 50% of the state feel that the state is headed in the wrong direction. As if that's something to cheer about. Folks, I don't believe that. Certainly no one in the East Bay. Now, who did this poll? I mean, you have to look at who did it and who paid for it, which was the laborers, which was the AFL-CIO, and the amount of people that they had do it. But no, I don't believe that he's touting that as a big win. Rhode Island Governor Dan Mckee is trying to tout this, that this is fantastic news, that only 50% of the state feel that things are headed in the wrong direction. I find that absurd. And on top of that, like I said, I question the poll. I think Channel 12, is in a tough position because it's their guy, Joe Fleming, that did the poll. A new poll conducted by the AFL-CIO asked 400 Rhode Island voters a broad range of questions focus on labor and state house issues. 48% of voters said Rhode Island's moving in the wrong direction, according to this poll. Well, but there's also people that the direction of the state, 23% said they're not sure. How is that possible? So he may say only 49% say wrong direction. Yeah, but only 30% say right direction. I don't believe it's that high at 23%. I don't. You know, in this poll also, which is suspect, you have where do you get your news? And TV news is very high on that. They also have raising the minimum wage. That's a labor issue. Assault weapons ban, 64%. I'm saying I don't believe this poll. And the fact that Mckee is trying to tout this, that it's some kind of a big win, leads me to believe that there's something very suspect about this poll. Folks, this portion of our program, if you're thinking of doing some kind of remodel, Arch Design Builders, give them a call today, 401-207-4124. So on this Thursday, maybe you're thinking of a special project, home or business, for your kitchen, your bathroom, your basement, your deck. Arch Design Builders. Give them a call. This tremendous husband and wife team. Roxanne is the designer. Ed is the builder. Arch Design Builders. You're going to discover the Arch difference. But what I'm talking about is let's set up the free consultation. Let's have a meeting. Let's show them the space we're talking about. Arch Design Builders. 401-218-9707. Wherever you can hear my voice or see me, call Arch Design Builders today, 401-218-9707 for Arch Design Builders. Now is the time to get something done. And you can't go wrong. And I also shared their social media pages with Arch Design Builders. Well, folks, good afternoon at 1:59. Yes, we are going to do Road Patrol Live later. I'm going to check on the Middletown situation. Maybe we'll go live from there. Maybe. We'll see. We still want to make sure it's an active scene when we complete. If you're listening to the radio, then stay tuned for the 2 o'clock news. But folks, again, visit the website, depetro.com. Remember, we have some great merchandise. And next week will be a big week with President Trump and the State of the Union. So we're back on the radio tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. And stay tuned for the 2 o'clock news. Everyone else, check out Road Patrol Live later on this Thursday.